Nevada. You are listening to the Walkertown Report. And ever since the early 90s, writer Jerry Fink has been the pop historian of Las Vegas, chronicling the changes in this city by publishing books about the history of Las Vegas. These books have proved helpful to both historians and tour guides.
Well, I was interested in history myself, but also the people I got in the cab were always asking questions.
Jerry Fink moved to Las Vegas, Nevada in 1989. He drove a cab and people began asking him about this town. His research led to a series of books published about the history of Sin City.
So I decided, kill two birds with one stone. I'll find out about it. I'll be able to tell them. Well, actually three, because it helped to, sometimes helped when I get the tips, or tokes as they call them here. You know, people were impressed that I knew as much as I did. But it took me quite a while to amass enough information.
These books were sold at the Stratosphere, the Gambler's General Store, and other places around Vegas.
I think my first big one was at the Stratosphere. They used to buy 144 at a time, which was really a lot for me. Because most places, like the Sahara, Binion's, the Excalibur I had at one time also, El Cortez, the Four Queens. Then I had like some car rental places and some just souvenir type shops and stuff like that. But that was my market. I mean, not my market, but where I wanted to sell them from. Mm-hmm. And then I got on eBay, and I did pretty well on there.
I have been a tour guide with two major attractions since I came to Las Vegas, and Jerry Fink's books helped me tremendously in understanding the history of Vegas, and they also enhanced my tours in a very profitable manner.
Now, some people would consider that trivia. I don't consider that trivia. I consider that history, you know what I mean?
I'm Dwayne Walker, and today I want to talk about the Riviera. You've seen the Riviera in movies like Vegas Vacation and Ocean's 11, but it's no longer standing because the city built a great new parking lot. And that's definitely something Las Vegas needs more. It was originally called the Casablanca back in the early 50s, but the project stalled because one of the owners had ties to Meyer Lansky and the mob. I know what you're thinking. I'm shocked and appalled. Well, after they found new business partners, the project was then called the Riviera. And by the way, two of the Marx brothers were early investors. They were among the new partners. And Liberace was there at the opening, cutting the ribbon, and he began playing at the Riviera for $50,000 a week. Joan Crawford was the official hostess and greeter, and she was paid $2,500 a day for 4 straight days. The Riviera was the first casino to break ranks with the country and western decor that most of the casinos in Las Vegas had during the time. Martin Scorsese's movie Casino takes place at the Stardust. Scorsese filmed the interiors at the Riviera, but only between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. because no one wanted to interfere with the casino gamblers. I mean, you got to draw the line somewhere. Their buffets served around 25,000 diners each week. It was also the headquarters for the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, who videotaped their shows from the Riviera. But you never know it from the Netflix version, which has the Glow wrestlers staying at a seedy motel near one of the airports in Los Angeles. And I'll have more to say about that in another installment. In 1986, the burlesque show Crazy Girls Fantasy de Paris opened, and this famous sculpture stood out front. The Riviera was blown up real good on April the 12th, 2016, and the Crazy Girl statue has since been taken down and moved to Planet Hollywood. You won't see any roller coasters on this end of Vegas, the real end. Here you see a smorgasbord of abandoned hotels and businesses. Some are still open, others are not. But at night, this place glitters and resembles, in a way, a neon ghost town. So let your curiosity be the guide and spend some time in this unique area of Las Vegas that we call Fremont East. Our tour begins at the Neonopolis, where the Mediterranean Cafe and the Heart Attack Grill are located. If you park at the Neonopolis, you'll find our starting point right outside the parking structure as you enter the Neonopolis. The Neonopolis, by the way, was developed by Rohit Joshi, a developer who originated from Bombay, India. His education in India was heavy on music appreciation. When he went to the University of Akron in Ohio, he supported himself by working in a music store. One of his friends, it turns out, was the son of a banker, and this banker actually gave Rohit a loan, and Rohit bought the music store he worked at. Edward D. Bartolo, the shopping mall magnate, convinced him to open 10 retail music shops, and he developed the 10 RJ music stores up and down the East Coast. The Neonopolis is made of 3 open-air levels, surrounded by an outdoor center courtyard with stage, sound, and seating. Bands and concerts were scheduled during the summer months during its heyday. Joshi wanted to rename this place Fremont Square, but that never happened. On the bottom floor, there is a Denny's with a small out-of-the-way crevice that passes as a wedding chapel. The Neonopolis contains 3 miles of neon lights. Today, it's the home of the Heart Attack Grill. The quadruple bypass burger actually contains 9,982 calories. The Southern Nevada Museum of Fine Art is on the 2nd floor. There is also the Telemundo channel, and on the 3rd floor, the movie complex was turned into the Las Vegas Playhouse. Up on the 3rd floor, you can also stand on a bridge between the Neonopolis and parking and view the length of Fremont East. Fremont East was created in 2002 by the city of Las Vegas with an emphasis on being an arts and entertainment complex. You can see the nightclubs on the right side of the street, and further down on the left is the historic El Cortez Casino and Hotel. There is the big praying mantis in front of the Container Plaza to the right, and further down you can see the Atomic Lounge and Liquor Store, and across from that, the Writer's Block Bookstore. We'll explore those places in a bit more detail as we approach them. Now, as we cross over to where the clubs are, you'll notice medallions scattered throughout the sidewalks. Look down and you'll see them commemorating various historical events in the history of Las Vegas. Now, this is important because Las Vegas has gotten a bad rap about not preserving their history. For instance, a recent example is the implosion of the Riviera, where the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling was originally shot. These medallions might seem like a remedy to that situation, except they were eventually replaced because the city of Las Vegas noticed that some of the medallions were not historically accurate. Ben Siegel, for instance, the gangster whose influence on the city of Las Vegas, some believe, has been greatly exaggerated. A medallion had to be redone, showing that he was part owner of the El Cortez Hotel. And while we're here at the nightclubs, this gives me an opportunity to talk about Billy Wilkerson, the original owner of the Flamingo, whose investment would later be taken over by Ben Siegel, and then Siegel would get the credit for making Las Vegas the town it became. Not quite true. Billy Wilkerson was the founder of the Hollywood Reporter, and prior to his coming to Vegas, this was truly a cowboy town. You didn't think of Hollywood glamour. That is what Billy Wilkerson brought to Las Vegas. He wanted to bring the kind of club ambience he was used to on the Sunset Strip, and this was way back in the 40s. That tradition of Hollywood ambience has continued to this day. You can see it in some of the bigger clubs on the Strip, and even with these clubs on Fremont East, which remind me of some of the smaller venues on the Sunset Strip. Other medallions commemorate the closing of Block 16, where prostitution was consolidated for the workers of Boulder Dam, to the new rule making it illegal for horses and riders to come into the casino. In front of the El Cortez, you can see the handprint of Ringo Starr. These handprints were actually made at a ceremony near the Welcome to Las Vegas sign and installed here on March the 15th, 2015, otherwise known as Ringo Starr Day. On the right of 7th Street, you'll see a praying mantis. This breathes fire at night, and most often there is a drumming group that meets here when that happens. Now, this praying mantis premiered at Burning Man is now permanently installed in front of the Container Park. The stores you see in Container Park are actually made from containers used to store industrial items on trains. This is all part of a movement regarding sustainability and affordable housing. Container Park was founded by Tony Hsieh, who graduated from Harvard and was responsible for Link Exchange, an early form of internet advertising. He was the founder of Zappos Shoes, and this area also appealed to him. He started the Downtown Project originally with the idea of turning this area of Las Vegas into a place for his employees. Now further down, you'll notice these bicycles that are part of a rideshare program by the Regional Transportation Commission. Just visit their webpage and open up an account, and when you come to Vegas, you can rent one of these bikes for a short sprint around the city. The Atomic Liquor Store and Bar. This entire property on this block was once owned by the caregiver for the Nevada judge John Bustede. Her name was Virginia, and she inherited his wealth and the property that was 9th and 10th on Fremont. Virginia opened up a gas station and a diner. Her daughter Stella married Joe Slopchik, and they began to run the diner. Joe eventually got tired of cooking and turned it into a liquor store, Atomic Liquors. He wanted to still serve alcohol at the store, so he bought the liquor license from the Lido Casino, which was closing down. Because of the uniqueness of the business, this was the first tavern license issued in Las Vegas. It was license number 00001. Both Joe and Stella are dead now. They both died at the age of 91. In 2012, a group of investors led by downtown Las Vegas attorney Lance Johns purchased the Atomic from the Slopchik's son, Ron, and remodeled it to its original glory. Now, one thing that has always been true about Las Vegas is this. People come here to do things they just can't do in their hometown. From the days of the notorious Block 16 to becoming the first state to grant quickie divorces, to legalize gambling, and now something that is becoming more and more rare in many towns, visiting a local bookstore that is not Barnes & Noble. The Writer's Block is the first independent bookstore in Las Vegas and the second in the state of Nevada. It was part of Tony Hsieh's Downtown Project. It was established in 2014 by Scott Seeley and Drew Cohen. They also have a space in the bookstore called a Codex that is used for free writing workshops for children aged 5 to 18, in addition to readings, signings, and an ongoing series called Neon Light, a monthly reading by the Master of Fine Arts and the PhD writing students at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. The Writer's Block also sponsors the Espresso Book Machine, which produces print-on-demand titles, and it provides forums for local authors. You'll find no roller coasters here at Fremont East, but there are plenty of places for adults to gather and enjoy the night. At Fremont East, Vegas is for adults again.